Hello everyone, it's Brian from Demco. Just like to talk this morning about our dealer parts kit. So we're really addressing the Demco dealers. If you do a lot of Demco supplemental braking systems, this is a kit that's going to come in awfully handy for you. There's a lot of Air Force One parts and pieces in here, and also some Stay and Play Duo parts and pieces in here. So to start out, first of all, it's going to come in a really nice organized case for you. It's going to keep everything separate. There's all separate little pockets in here. So first of all, one of the things that your customers are going to find out that they are going to misplace their vinyl covers for the Air Force One fittings. We have a large one that goes on the back of the coach, a smaller one that goes on the front of the Toad. That's going to be an item that gets misplaced. If somebody is coming down the road and they stop at your dealership, they may ask for this. This is going to be in your dealer parts kit. Another item that is very common is a vacuum check valve. We have a couple of extra vacuum check valves in here for you, along with extra vacuum tees and some vacuum adapters to change sizes of hoses. That's also going to be in this kit. Next, we have our separate 6257 vacuum T connection kit. This kit is designed to go directly into a brake booster. It was actually designed after a F-150. Most Ford products will have this. They will actually have two ports in the vacuum brake booster. One port will have a vacuum line going in. The second port will have a vacuum sensor going in. They are both the same size. We like to put them into the port where the vacuum sensor is connected. So you would simply remove the vacuum sensor. You're going to plug in the 6257. You're going to take the vacuum sensor, put it into the opposite end. It will fit right in here. And then the third portion, of course, is where the vacuum hose that comes from either your Stay and Play Duo or your Air Force One, the 3/8 vacuum hose is going to fit right on there. In this situation, you're only going to need one vacuum check valve in between the operating unit of either the Air Force One or Stay and Play Duo and this vacuum T. It can also be used on many other cars. Anytime you see a vacuum sensor at your brake booster, you can use this T. Next, we have a air cylinder cable replacement kit. You're going to find that sometimes if the installer has installed the system incorrectly, that the cable is going to break. And you're going to need to replace that cable. So you're going to get a new cable, a new rod assembly, and a new bushing. If you go to our website, www.demco-products.com, there's a nice video on how to replace this safely in the air cylinder. You can get that replaced for your customer. Two reasons why these cables break. First is if the cylinder is not within a 1-inch variance of a straight line, or the cable is not within a 1-inch variance of a straight line to its anchor, it may rub on this brass bushing and it's going to fray and break the cable. The second and most common is if we don't get enough room between the end of the air cylinder and the anchor, the cable will tend to bend in the same place and it will break the cable. We need to have a minimum of 3.5 to 4 inches. More is always better. That will allow this cable to naturally coil and uncoil, and you won't have a broken cable. Next pocket, we have the LED light. We have a couple extra in here for you. They are pretty durable. Just in case your customer would come in and their LED light would have burned out or something had happened to it, you're going to have a couple of extra LED lights. Going to give you an extra reed switch. Reed switch and its bracket is going to be in here. This is used on Air Force One. Very common item. If it's installed incorrectly, the reed switch will burn out. Reed switches are actually very durable. They don't go out very often unless it is installed incorrectly. The wiring is a little tricky on there, so make sure you're following your wiring diagrams. We're going to give you a couple of extra anchors, and the self-drilling screws are going to be in here, as well as the reinforcement plate will be in here as well. in case you have to move a system for somebody and you want to reinstall it with a fresh anchor and a fresh reinforcement plate. That would you're going to have extras in here. The reinforcement plates came out because we found out that some of the firewalls on the newer vehicles are becoming quite thin and pulling the screws out, so we came up with a reinforcement plate to put the pressure, spread that pressure out a little bit. In our next little pocket, we got several different fittings, several different sizes, male, female, and several sizes, all 1/4 inch push lock fittings to go into our airline. Also going to give you a new breakaway cable along with 2 of its carabiner clips. Sometimes your customer will find that they misplace these. They're going to need a new breakaway cable. That's going to be in your kit. One other neat little item that we came up with, if you do a lot of installs on Jeep Cherokees, you know what that brake pedal looks like. It's kind of a stamped, flared out brake pedal. Can't get that cylinder to sit on there very well. We have a simple little 1/4 inch spacer that will go on the air cylinder side of that brake arm, and then install your cylinder on that way. The cylinder will get squared up to the firewall. Nice little, very inexpensive little bracket for your customer. Next we have our male and female fittings for our hoses and for the back of the coach, the front of the toad. A lot of times the customers don't get these female quick connects snapped onto the male connector good, and they'll drag them down the road. There are actually 2 different fittings together on the hose. You can separate them, you can sell them individually, so you're going to have a couple of female connectors and a couple of male connectors. One other little device that you are going to find on the towed vehicle side, right behind the male connector, is an inline filter. If your customer has gone down the road for a while and they don't have their front fitting connected, they may get some debris in that front fitting. The filter is going to block that off, and you may find debris in the filter. You may have to replace a filter for somebody. That's going to be in the kit. We also have a couple of brass tees. As a lot of you are noticing, the Super Cs that come, they are using 1/2 inch airline going to the service brake valve. Most common is a 5/8 line. That's what 90% of the coaches have on them. You're going to see the Super Cs coming with a 1/2 inch airline to it. You can make, out of this kit, you can make a 1/2 to 1/4 inch T out of this. As well as there's a couple of 5/8 adapters in here as well. So you're gonna end up having some pieces parts to make a couple of extra T's in here. That's all going to be in this kit as well. Breakaway switch. A lot of times the breakaway switches, especially if somebody is driving around with a plug out of the switch itself, it's going to get corroded. If it's on a vehicle for a while, it may get corroded, especially if it's in a very moist or high condensed moisture area. That switch may not last forever. You're going to have a new breakaway switch along with a couple of extra breakaway plugs. That will be in your kit as well. Lastly, our Hydro Boost kit is going to be in here. Not very many vehicles have Hydro Boost brakes anymore. Hydro Boost was a brake system that was utilizing the power steering hydraulic fluid to give you some assist. Today's vehicles, you're going to find electric assist brakes. You're going to need to use at least a portion of this. So with an Air Force One, if you have an electric brake assist and the battery remains connected, you're going to plug off the vacuum side. If the battery is going to be disconnected, that brake pedal is going to get hard. You're going to set it up just like a Hydro Boost. You're going to cover the exhaust port and the vacuum port. Very important to remember, it has to do with what the battery situation is. Are you going to keep your battery connected, or are you going to disconnect the battery? That's going to be the key of how you're going to set up the operating unit on Air Force One. On a Stay and Play Duo, if the battery is disconnected, just leave the check valve open to atmosphere. It's going to be able to draw more air in. If it's going to remain connected, we want to back that pressure off. So we're going to plug that check valve off. That's going to back that air pressure off of a Stay and Play Duo. Last thing that's in here is an air pressure stop switch. Years ago, we used to use this quite often. We don't use it very much anymore because we're utilizing the reed switch. What this switch does is it senses as air passes through it, so it goes in line in between your operating unit and your air cylinder. Anytime air is passing by there, you're going to detect that with this, and this is going to give you coach notification. 2 wires to wire up, 1 to power, 1 to your coach notification light. Really easy install. Again, all this comes in a nice plastic carrying case, all individual little compartments in here. Really nice little kit for your parts department to have on hand, be able to help you out, be able to help out your customers. If you have any questions at all, feel free to go to our website, again, www.demco-products.com, or give us a call, 1-800-543-3626. Thanks so much for watching.